Hey everyone, it's Kai from Kool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the Star Wars variant Playouts Kai Darth Maul. For all the upcoming Japanese Star Wars figures, head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, just a quick look at the packaging. I have loved the box art of the previous three figures with Vader, Boba Fett and the Stormtrooper. And this one's pretty much in the same sort of style with the nice artwork on the front there. He does look pretty damn awesome there, I have to say. And on the back you get a bit more of a look at the figure in different poses with the head visage at the back there, which is very sort of episode 1-esque from the original poster, so that's pretty good. And you just open it up with the magnets there, so you get the view of the figure there and the blurb. I can zoom in and you guys can pause and have a read if you want. So a bit of information on Darth Maul there, but I'll crack him open and give you guys a closer look. Alright, so here is the figure out of the box. I'll just quickly go through the accessories. So you get the combined lightsaber, the double hilted lightsaber, and essentially you just get these blades and squeeze them in. I would have preferred if the blade was more of a translucent colour and not this sort of painted red and white. It doesn't look that good, but I guess it does the job. So you do that, or you have the separated ones, and then you can put the blade in there. So those couple of options. I'll probably display him with his combined, as that's the more iconic look. Comes with an alternate head sculpt, which I probably would have preferred if it didn't have this sort of slight gaze to the right. It looks like this eye here isn't quite centered on mine, but the snarl probably does look a bit better than the default. So here's the default, which he looks almost bored. Whereas this one is probably a bit more movie accurate, if you want to call it that. So I'll probably swap those around in a second and give you guys a look at that. But the paint app itself is pretty good. Not sure if the horns should be sharper or not, but the overall look is pretty good, and I do like the sharpness of the paint app. So pretty good detail there. Comes with two fists by default, but also comes with this slew of alternate hands. So he's got his, I don't know, force push type hand, the lightsaber wielding hands, same on the other side, and then a couple of sort of more relaxed hands. And the molding and the detail on them is pretty good. Get a look at the detail there with the silver detailing and the sort of glove look. So overall detail is pretty good. But onto the figure. Now straight up, I have to say it's probably my least favourite out of the figures that they've released so far, to be honest. With my main gripe being how thin he looks. The chest area and so on I actually quite like, but as it gets down into the torso, I just think they made his torso and waist a little bit too thin. I know they're going for that sort of anime variant style, but I don't know, it just feels like the Vader and Stormtrooper and Boba Fett weren't so bad. But I'll grab them off the shelf in a second and give you guys a side-by-side comparison. But that's probably my main gripe for this figure, and I'm probably not too keen on these little weird pouches, or I don't know what they are on his chest here, but they sort of stick out and yeah, don't look particularly good to me. But I guess that's up to their variant design. But the head sculpt fits on the ball joint there fairly well. It's got a double joint here, so you can bend it down at the lower part of the neck and also bend it down at the top part. So two joints there, so you can look quite a way up and down. So lots of range of motion in the head there, which is good. The shoulders work pretty well. You can probably try and squeeze that under there and get the shoulders out a bit more, but that's as far as I'm going to try and push mine. It does have a bicep swivel, and this piece here is a separate piece, but then you can swivel the bicep as well. Double jointed elbows, and you can sort of articulate the wrists as well. So no major issues there. The torso, so as with all the other figures, there's the upper torso and then there's the waist, so you can rotate that all the way around and rotate the waist as well, so there's a heap of articulation in the torso area. The waist pieces are always separate pieces on these figures, and this time there are two separate pieces. So the upper one here is pretty much the side skirts and the back, it looks like, yep. And then the lower one here is essentially the kama, I guess, on the front here, and I think the back piece here as well. So this is all sort of just, I guess, very soft plastic, so it doesn't get in the way of the articulation of the hips at all. But I guess there's no sort of risk of snapping these things off because they are very sort of flexible, as you can see. The moulding's pretty good. It's not too bad. It's got a nice sort of bit of tearing and sort of flow to it. So it looks like it's blowing in the wind in that sort of direction. I do actually prefer the Vader cape, where they were on like little ball joints, so you could sort of pose them and splay them out if in any sort of direction you wanted, whereas this one is sort of stuck in that sort of windswept look to one side like that. But overall it's not too bad. The detailing in the legs is pretty good. I do like the sort of armour and the red highlighting there, so that's not too bad. If I can get my hand out of the light, give you guys a look at that. So it does look very similar to Vader at the bottoms here, in that sort of armour style. And the hips are all on ratchets, so you can get him out pretty wide, like so. And then you can sort of move them up forward and back pretty far as well. So not too bad in the articulation. Double jointed knees, so you can get them into all sorts of prancing poses, so that's all good. And the joints do swivel out at the thigh as well. The ankles are pretty good. The usual sort of back and forth and ankle rocking motion. One thing I did notice that I'll probably have to go back and double check on Vader is I didn't realize that the feet here have a separate rotation. I'm not quite sure why you would ever need to just rotate the toes like he's broken his foot or something, but I guess it's a nice bit of articulation nevertheless. It would have been better if it was actually a tilt forward, so you could make him look like he's walking and not just twisting his feet around or his toes around. So that's pretty much it on the articulation. I don't mind the overall style, apart from those nitpicks that I mentioned before, but I'll grab the other three and give you guys a closer look at what these guys look together. Hold on a second. Alright, so here he is with Vader, and I have to say I still prefer Vader over Darth Maul. As you can see, the waist, I guess it's probably the same sort of width, but it's probably hidden a bit better on Vader here with the cape and the extra waist piece there and so on, so you don't look at him and think that he's overly thin. The blade on Vader is probably, it's pretty much the same sort of painting as the Maul blades, but I would have preferred if the blade was actually this translucent sort of plastic, which Vader did have on that sort of swooshing blade, which I haven't bothered using. They didn't bother giving anything like that for Darth Maul, which is different, I guess, to the Stormtrooper and Boba Fett, where they did give some sort of flaming sort of translucent plastic accessories. But hopefully that gives you a look at Vader and Maul. I'll just bring the Stormtrooper across. As you can see, the Stormtrooper is slightly taller again. I do think the Stormtrooper's probably a bit too tall, with Boba Fett being too short, as I've mentioned in my previous review. It would have been better if Darth Maul was at least the same height, but that's no big deal, I guess. And again, the waist, I guess the belt here sort of highlights the waist and doesn't make it look too thin. So overall, I think the Stormtrooper is my preferred figure over Darth Maul. And of course, Boba Fett here is pretty damn awesome. And he's probably just on the same height as Maul. And his waist is probably a bit too thin as well in this particular style, but I guess together they do look pretty damn awesome. So if you're into this line, I guess they are getting pretty damn expensive, these Playouts Kai figures. When I used to look at their old sort of Justice League and the Street Fighter line, they were under $100. I was sure that I saw back in the day. I mean, that was only a year or so ago, and now they're getting right up there to about $120, $130 US. So for Aussie collectors, it really will hurt the budget. So just be careful, I guess, on where you order. I got mine from Big Bad Toy Store, and they are pretty competitively priced. But I guess if you're looking online at the Asian retailers, particularly out of Japan, you might be able to find it for a better price. But I guess the customer service from Big Bad Toy Store pretty much puts it over the line for me. So hopefully you liked that quick look at Darth Maul. Hopefully you can click that subscribe button. I've got a whole bunch of reviews coming up still with Jango Fett from Sideshow on the way. So hopefully you can stick around for that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.